Hello, I'm Russ, and welcome to my kitchen. Today on Cooking with Russ, I'm going to be making an old favorite that I've been making for years and my mother taught me to make, and that is salmon patties with rice and tomato gravy. Now, the salmon patties are actually not really patties, they're more like hush puppies than there are a thin patty shape for the salmon. But I'll get into that when we start making them and show you. For right now, what you're going to need is what's up here on the recipe and also a pan. Matter of fact, this is the same pan I used for the sauteed pork chops with a lid on it. Medium-sized pan with a lid. So the first thing we're going to do in this is we're going to add some bacon. I've got about 5 strips of bacon here. I'm just going to add to the bottom of the pan. I don't think I said this a few minutes before, but this is the beginning of the tomato gravy. Let me wash my hands off here. Then I'm going to set this on probably a medium-high heat to get it going. What we want to do is to brown the bacon and get the grease from the bacon to get started on this. All right, this is starting to come up to temperature. I can hear the bacon starting to sizzle. Love bacon. Get it to start sizzling. Now to that, I want to add 1 whole medium onion. Now, actually, I didn't have a whole medium onion. This was like a whole large onion. That's the reason I have a little left over and only added that amount that I added. But if you have a whole medium onion, that's what you want to use. If you have a large onion, then only use about half of it. I actually forgot that was a large onion that I cut up. And then what you're wanting to do is brown the bacon so we can get that lovely, lovely bacon grease off of it. And we also want to cook the onion down and get it translucent. I'm going to put the lid on this and let it go for a little while. I just keep coming back and checking on it and stirring it till we get the bacon starting to brown up. And get these onions cooked down. Now you don't want to burn this, once again, like we were talking about with the sauteed pork chops. So if you find out that the onions are starting to burn, back down on the heat just a little bit. The onions are starting to brown up a little bit. That's fine, as long as you just don't want to burn the onions. But that's fine. But this is getting close enough now that I want to go ahead and chop this bacon up. And the easiest way I have found to do it is I just get me a pair of tongs and just reach in here and grab a hold of that bacon and take me a pair of scissors and just start cutting it up into little pieces. To me, it's just so much easier this way. Yes, I could have diced it up before when it was raw bacon. But I don't know, this is the way I do it. You can do it however you want to do it. But you just want to dice the bacon up, cut it up into small pieces. To me, bacon's one of those things that's really hard to cut. When it's raw, when it's not cooked. That's the reason I find it easier to do it this way. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Got them down to bite-sized pieces, so to speak. All right, got that done. Now, for the next ingredient, we are going to add a can of diced tomatoes, a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Now, you can use whatever brand you want. Just want to go ahead and pour that whole can of diced tomatoes right into this onion and gravy. Or onion and bacon. This is going to be the start of our tomato gravy. I'm just going to bring this up to a simmer. Okay, they're starting to come up to a simmer, so I'm just going to stir them just a little bit, maybe raise the heat. As soon as I took the lid off, naturally it stops. Now this, I want to add just a little bit of black pepper, or to your taste. If you're a lover of pepper like I am, you can add more. And some sea salt. Once again, depending on your diet and your heart condition and everything as to how much salt you can add. Personally, I'm a saltaholic. Let's just give that another stir real quick. Okay, now while that is simmering, I am going to prepare my salmon. I like canned salmon, and I use the brand Blacktop. This is something that's been around for I don't know how many years, but this is what my mother used to make our salmon patties. So it's premium wild Alaskan pink salmon. It's the brand that she always used and I've always used, and to me, I guess it tastes the best. Now, you have to skin and debone this salmon. So there are some brands out there, from my understanding, that are already skinned and already deboned. So if you're not up to wanting to skin and debone your salmon, you might look into buying some of those, that type of salmon. So I'm using 2 cans. There are 2 14.7 ounce cans of salmon. I've already got my salmon prepared here. And I'm just going to dump it into this bowl. Now to that, I want 1 egg. I'm going to add 1 egg per can of salmon. So this is 2 cans. I'll be adding 2 eggs. Then I'm going to be adding some pepper. To your taste, I would say about, half a teaspoon. And some salt. To taste, or again, about a half a teaspoon. Also to this, I'm going to be adding a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. And I have 2 heaping tablespoons of all-purpose flour here. Now I need to grind all this up really well to make the salmon. So to do that, I'm going to use some gloves. So give me a second to get my gloves on. All right, I've got my gloves on and I'm fixing to get ready to mix up the salmon and start adding the flour. Just what I do whenever I'm using gloves like this, I always wash them thoroughly before I actually put the gloves in contact with any type of meat or anything. It's just the way I do it. I know they come out of a supposedly sterile box or whatever, but I still go ahead and wash them thoroughly before they come in contact with anything I'm going to eat. Okay, so now we just want to start in here and we just want to get this all mushed up really, really good. Get the egg mixed in with it. And then we slowly, now this is about 2 heaping tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I just want to start adding this to this mixture and mixing it around. All right. Got that down in there. So let me test this and how I test it to make sure there's enough flour in here and the mixture is good, as I use a large tablespoon. What I'm going to do is take a large tablespoon, get me some of it out, and just make sure that I can form what I think looks like a hush puppy, just like that. See how that is? Because that's what we're going to want to have when we go to fry them. So for right now, I'm just going to set this mixture off to the side because I got a few more things I need to do to get prepared before we start frying this. Okay, so I'm just going to check on my tomatoes, and yes, they are cooking down nicely. They're starting to look real good. So just stir them around a little bit and put the lid back on, and we're just going to continue to let them simmer and cook. All right, when I did the sauteed pork chops, I introduced you to my little friend, and for those of you who haven't seen that video, this is my little friend, the Tiger rice cooker. We love this thing. So we're going to start our rice now. What we're going to need is 4 cups of water, and 2 cups of white rice. Put those in. Let me get a spoon, give it a little stir. And also to this, you're going to need to add a little salt. and a little black pepper. Not a lot, just a little. And then we're going to put the lid back on this. I'm going to set it off here to the side where I can watch it. Pull the cord out and set it and let it start cooking my rice. I love that thing. Now we got the rice going. We got the tomato gravy over here simmering, getting ready. So now we're fixing to get ready to start our salmon patties. Now I fry my salmon patties in a cast iron skillet. I love the cast iron skillet for frying because of the fact that it holds the heat really well and very evenly when I'm frying small batches of like salmon patties and stuff like this. The next reason also is I like to use something small like this so that I don't waste a lot of oil. Because after you fry your salmon in this, the oil is, you just throw the oil away. It's no good. It's not like some of the other, like the peanut oil that you can save and reserve for cooking other things. You just want to throw this away. So I'm just using regular vegetable oil. And what I want to do is add just about an inch in the bottom of this pan. I want enough that my salmon patties will cook about halfway, and I'll flip them over and cook the other half. Don't want too much, about an inch in depth in this pan. It's about all you want. Now we're going to be frying our salmon patties at about 325 degrees. So let me get my thermometer and set up and get that started. So okay, I got my thermometer all set up. I'm using a digital thermometer to be able to tell the temperature of my oil. So I'm going to turn the burner up on high, and I want to bring my oil up to about 325 degrees, between 300 and 325 degrees. 350 is a little hot for the salmon patties. It seems to have a tendency, when I do it up at 350, it seems to burn real easy, so I back it down to about 325. Now we're going to have to give this a few minutes for the oil to come up to temperature before we can start frying our salmon patties. Okay, now that the oil is come up to temperature, it's time to start dropping in our salmon patties. So what I want to do is reach in here. Now I'm reaching across the oil, but I need to do this right now to be able to show y'all what I'm talking about and how I do this. And then I'll change and bring this over to the side in just a second. But I want to get some salmon onto my spoon. About the good size of a good size hush puppy. And then I want to compact it down into the spoon. Just like you're seeing it, just like that. See if I can give you a side view. Just about that much. And then I want to just start dropping these into the oil. You got to kind of work fast. Now let me move this bowl back over to the side so I'm not reaching over the oil. That's just the way you do it. You just get them pattied up like that. I'm going to drop them in. Like I said, these are really not patties. These are more like hush puppies. I don't want to get them too thick. Get them too thick, too big, and they don't want to cook all the way through. That's pretty good right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got about 6 of them going. All right, let's check a few of them or one of them and see how it's doing. See if it's time to flip it over. Roll it up on its side. Oh yeah, that's a nice golden brown right there. Oh yeah, looking good, looking good. They are looking fantastic. So give them a few minutes on this other side and let them get golden brown and done on that side. All right, let's check the other side and see how they're doing. Oh yeah, they're ready to come out. So I've got a plate here with a paper towel on it, so I just want to pick them up, give them a second to let that oil dry off of them. And put them on this plate with the paper towel. So now we can start our third and final batch. Okay, while these are cooking, we need to do one more thing to our tomato gravy. Get some of that water off the lid. And that is, I have a couple of tablespoons of all-purpose flour here. And what I want to do is start gradually, just slowly, and you have to do this slowly now, slowly start putting this in, sprinkling it on and stirring this. Just gradually want to sprinkle just a little bit at a time over the top of this. Now it's not going to take all this 2 tablespoons to thicken this up. It's actually starting to get thick already with just that little bit. Yeah, starting to feel nice. That was probably maybe 1 tablespoon. I just don't want the gravy thin and runny. I don't like my gravy thin and runny, especially with tomato gravy. I like it to have a thick consistency, so to speak. Not too thick that it won't fall off your spoon, just right. And boy, that just smells so good, so very good. I think that's about enough. So I'm going to turn the fire off, put the lid back on it, and that can just sit there until I'm ready to plate. Like I said, that was actually 2 tablespoons in this, and you see I only probably used about 1 tablespoon. Like I said, it's been a while since I made it, so I went ahead and threw the 2 tablespoons in here. Okay, everything is absolutely smelling delicious in here. We got our tomato gravy all ready. Let me step over here and find a place for this lid. So the first thing we're going to want to do is reach over here and get us some of this rice. And then go ahead and load us up some of this tomato gravy. Oh, don't that look good? Oh yeah. And then get us a couple of these salmon patties. Now that burner over there here is still a little warm from frying the salmon patties, but there you have it. This is a meal that I was raised on, trust me. We used to have salmon patties and rice tomato gravy all the time, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Let me put it this way, they're good enough, they'll make you want to slap your mama, I promise you. Now let's just take a look at one of these salmon patties inside. Oh yeah. Yeah, nice and crispy on the outside, and they're done nice and soft on the inside. Oh yeah, really good. I got my hunger going now. Thank you for watching me here on Cooking with Russ, and thank you for again coming into my kitchen, and I hope you enjoyed it. God bless.